Hello and welcome to Frost Over the World. Later in the programme, the much respected former Prime Minister of Spain, Jose Maria Aznar, Canadian singer-songwriter Martha Wainwright, the former head of Britain's anti-terrorist police, and since this is Friday the 13th, a day so many people consider unlucky, we'll be discussing the role of good luck and bad luck in our lives. But first of all, NATO, the largest, most powerful security organisation in the world, and its new Secretary General. For weeks now, the White House has been deliberating over how to proceed in Afghanistan, as we know. The military favour a surge, but others, notably, rather amazingly, the US ambassador in Kabul, who we learnt the last 24 hours is advising against the deployment of further troops, saying that President Karzai first must prove that he can tackle the corruption in his government. The new Secretary General of NATO, Anders Fogh Rasmussen, was in London this week. I caught up with him and asked if NATO can wait that long.
Well, I agree with the ambassador that the government in Kabul must step up to the plate and fight corruption effectively. Having said that, I also think that we need to do what it takes to finish our job militarily in Afghanistan. Right now we receive different pieces of advice, and now it's for politicians to make the final decisions, which I think will take place within a few weeks.
Within a few weeks, because it is urgent. I mean, if we need a surge, we need it as soon as possible, don't we?
Yes, indeed. General McChrystal has recommended an increased number of troops. We are right now reviewing his assessment. For sure, I know that we need more resources for our training mission in Afghanistan, with the aim to train more Afghan soldiers and more Afghan police, because I think the way ahead is transition to Afghan lead. We should hand over responsibility for the security to the Afghans themselves, province by province, as their own capacity develops. And to that end, we need more Afghan soldiers and more Afghan police. And therefore, I attach great importance to our training mission, and I urge all allies to provide resources for that.
And at the same time, you've said, with confidence, you've said that, that in fact the mission will continue and the mission will succeed, you've said, basically. So you're still confident about the future in Afghanistan?
Yes, failure is not an option. People ask, when will your mission in Afghanistan end? And my answer is very clear. Our mission in Afghanistan ends when the Afghans are capable to take care of security themselves. And therefore, it is so important that we train more Afghan soldiers and Afghan police. And I think it's realistic to start this process of handing over responsibility to the Afghans already next year. Of course, condition-based. They have to be able to take care of security, and we will do it in a coordinated manner within NATO and ISAF. But you will see a clear momentum.
Because one of your people, Karl-Heinz Kamp, said the Taliban does not accept defeat, so how can you win?
I think the essential thing here is that the Afghan people don't love the Taliban. They don't want them to get back in power. And in cooperation with the Afghan people, we will succeed. We need two things. We need a transition to Afghan lead. We need more Afghan soldiers and police. And at the same time, we need to improve governance in Afghanistan. The government in Kabul must fight corruption effectively, must deliver basic services to the Afghan people, and in general provide good governance.
Yes, the problem is, isn't it, there's two different things going on in Afghanistan, in the sense, on the one hand, obviously people are concerned about corruption, and so lots of Western spokesmen are being very rude about Hamid Karzai. But on the other hand, we need the people of Afghanistan to respond to Hamid Karzai, and we are the people who for other reasons, are destroying him.
We have been through a tough time awaiting the outcome of the electoral process. Now it has come to an end. Now President Karzai will establish a new government, and I think we need a new contract between the international community and the government in Kabul. A new contract in which we make it clear that our commitment to Afghanistan is closely connected with good governance, is based on a partnership with a strong government in Kabul, a government which is also prepared to reach out to broader political groups in Afghanistan with the aim to reintegrate and reconcile.
The other headline story, as you'll know, in the last 24 hours has been that the talks in Bosnia have broken down, and people are saying two things. They're saying, one, on the other hand, that there may be a new war in Bosnia between the three groups, and secondly, the only thing that fragilely is holding Bosnia together at the moment is their dream of joining NATO, so that's the vital position NATO seems to be in. But I mean, if there was a new war, presumably you would have to get involved just as you did in Kosovo.
Yes, and all in all, the NATO presence in the Balkans has been and is a success story. Actually, the NATO interference with what was going on in the 90s ended up with a stabilization of the situation. And as you pointed out, countries in the Western Balkans are now looking for membership of NATO, membership of the European Union, and NATO is prepared to provide the right incentives to make sure that the reform process will go on in the Western Balkans.
Do you think you would intervene militarily if there was a war in Bosnia?
Well, I think it's a bit too pessimistic to speak about war in Bosnia, but obviously the different communities in Bosnia have to agree on a constitutional reform. They should make sure that the country as such can function as one state. That is a prerequisite for the reform process. Next month, NATO will discuss how we can provide the right incentives, not only for Bosnia but also for neighboring Montenegro. We have already good examples in the Western Balkans. At the last summit, Croatia and Albania became members of NATO, and that fact could serve as a good example for other countries in the region, that if they fulfill the necessary criteria, they can eventually become members of NATO.
But would Russia be as opposed to Bosnia, for instance, joining NATO as they are to Georgia, for instance, or the Ukraine joining NATO? In those cases, we've had to, NATO's had to delay recognition of Georgia, and that's because of the Russian pressure. Would they be as worried about Bosnia being another country falling into your hands?
I don't think so. I have not heard any Russian objections concerning the Balkans. But having said that, I would also like to stress that no country outside NATO can veto NATO decisions concerning membership of the alliance. We stick to the core principle that it is for each sovereign country in Europe to decide its alliance affiliation.
And from what you hear, you said you think it's too pessimistic, but you don't think that Bosnia is on the verge of a civil war?
We all know that there are tensions in the country, but I'm also encouraged by the fact that the political leadership has determinedly tried to find solutions to outstanding problems. And recently, I received an application for what is called a membership action plan, which is the first step towards membership of NATO. And this application has been decided upon unanimously among the groups in the presidency of Bosnia. So I think they do their utmost, but it is a very challenging situation, and I'm very well aware of the fact that a future membership of NATO can serve as a driving force for reconciliation and reform in the country. Having said that, it is also a prerequisite for membership of NATO that the applicant countries fulfill necessary criteria.
And what about, I mean, you're always, I'm sure, asked about this, but the question of the future role of NATO, and all those questions that all go back to 1989, that there hasn't really been a role for NATO since the fall of the Berlin Wall and the end of the Cold War. And when we read Time magazine and other articles, they all talk about that NATO now has no obvious purpose. What is its relevance in today's world? What is its reason for existence? The irrelevance that has haunted it could well become a reality. All of those sort of phrases, you've heard them again and again, and the Time magazine said, really, apart from Afghanistan, NATO's not got much going on at all. How do you respond to those?
It's a very funny thing, because all the phrases you quoted reflect the success of NATO. During 60 years, NATO has provided security and stability in Europe and North America. The Cold War is over, yes, but unfortunately we are now faced with new threats, notably terrorism. And this is also the reason why...
And piracy too,
and piracy. Cyber attacks, proliferation of weapons of mass destruction. There are a lot of new security challenges, and we need NATO as a framework for a transatlantic cooperation with the aim to address these new threats. And let me remind you that the basic reason why we are in Afghanistan right now is the terrorist attacks on America in September 2001, and the day after we evoked for the first time in the history of NATO the Article 5 commitment to collective defense. Article 5 states that we consider an attack on one member as an attack on all members. And this is the reason why we are in Afghanistan, to secure our own territory. The core task of NATO is to defend our territory, but we have to realize that in today's world, the defense of our borders very often starts far away.
Well, Mr. Secretary General Anders, it's been a joy to talk like this. Thank you very much for being with us, and all the best of luck to Denmark in the World Cup.
David, thank you very much. Thank you, it's a pleasure.
In a moment, the former leader of one of NATO's most important members, Jose Maria Aznar of Spain, will be with us. After this short break, he'll be here.